You're in Spanish?
Sorry?
Oh, wrong class. I'm sorry. This is the wrong class.
That's okay. That's why I have it the same for both days. How are you doing, Kennedy? You're okay? All right. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hi.
What did I just close? I don't know what I just closed. Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
I don't think that this Nearpod thing is working today. How ironic. I spent like 2 hours making this thing on Nearpod, and now it doesn't seem to be working. The whole website doesn't seem to be working. Ooh, that's irritating. Oh well, what can we do? The answer is nothing. Just move on. Hello, 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 hello. All my friendly people who are just joining us. Adonis, Montserrat, and Shun. Jasmine, Jesse, Isaac. Boy, do I want a cup of coffee right now. Page. Good afternoon, Arnold. Desiree and Zachary. I don't know why I'm doing this the hard way. I just realized. It's because the last classroom I was in, I didn't have 2 monitors. Landis. Emily. we will wait 3 more minutes, see if we pick up some people, because we've got a few of our regulars missing, and then we will get going. So today we are going to be doing a Q1 review and like a Q2 expectations, okay? And we'll talk about the review itself, like the actual history review, and then we'll talk about what's coming in Q2. So that'll all be answered. I'm gonna punch Nearpod. All right, we just got Saeed and Isabella. Evelyn is here. So no Aaliyah yet, no Elijah, no Kyler, no Ileana, no Barrett, no Tajay. Oh, Kyler's in the waiting room now. No Roslyn, no Ayat. All right, let's turn our cameras on and I can mark you officially as here. We will probably not be watching anything today, so you should not have a problem with bandwidth. Thank you, Zachary. But however, those of you who are on campus, please turn on your cameras so that I can see you and then turn them back off. So Desiree, I know that you are here on campus. Thank you. Paige, I can't see your face, but I think you're at a window, right? Okay, that's what I thought. So you can go ahead and turn your camera off as you are on campus. I do want to remind you guys that they are going to start being more strict about us actually being able to see your face and not just part of your face. So be ready for that. And when they get the bandwidth upgraded at school, you will go back to having to be on camera all the time at school. So just be ready for that too. We'll wait just a couple more minutes and see if we pick up anybody else, and then we will just get started. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So, as I mentioned, I spent like an hour making this nice thing on a thing called Nearpod. How many of you have ever heard of Nearpod before? Has anybody heard of it before? Nope. I hadn't before last Friday, but it is a sort of way to make Google slide presentations more interactive. Now, of course, I spent all this time making one and then Nearpod crashed, because why wouldn't it? So when we get to the part where I'm going to ask you to contribute, I want you to use this Padlet that I just put in the chat to contribute instead of using Nearpod, okay? So if you want to go ahead and open that, you can, but don't put anything in it until I ask you to, please. All right. So Q1 review and Q2 expectations, glows and grows. So some of this is going to be, a lot of this actually is going to be you guys giving me feedback about what you liked and you didn't like from Q1, so that I can change things for Q2 that will help you learn better, and it will help you be able to take in the material better. So that's basically what we're going to talk about for the majority of today. Okay, so I want you to take like 3 minutes and think about what you liked and didn't like from quarter one. And you can put those in the Padlet, okay? So I want you to put your likes and dislikes in the Padlet, okay? Just this class, just my class. If you want to talk about some things about like some people were sharing some things about Study Island with me in the last class, that's fine too. About it, stuff that I can actually sort of help you with, or stuff that, you know, that I can actually change. Okay, so you like the test because they were easy based on the slides we'd gone over during class, okay? I do like to base my tests on the quarter, like what we actually discussed. Here you go, Isaac. Those of you who didn't see the Padlet link, there you are. The projects, because of the time that you had. You liked the workload, okay. I go through the slides too fast, okay. You're right, I agree that that's something that I definitely need to work on. You can look at the PowerPoints if you need help. You didn't feel like my workload was a lot. They gave you enough time, okay. You couldn't communicate when we did the projects. Yep, I agree that that was a problem. Dislike a lot of info given in one day. I'm gonna try to fix that. Partially that was because the quarter was so short and I wanted to really get through the history so that now we can spend the rest of the year focusing on the fun stuff, but I agree, I shouldn't have done that. Yep, I go through the slides too fast. I understand. Too many slides, okay. I'm gonna try to do better at that. I can't promise that I will always be better with that, but I will attempt to be better. Part of the thing is that I'm used to teaching 80-minute classes, and I thought it was gonna be easier to go from 80 minutes to 60, and I proved that it was not. I was not very good at making that adjustment. The presentations are fun. Well, I'm glad that you like that. Cut down on how many slides, okay. I'm getting a lot of dislikes. So is there anything, for those of you who put your dislikes first, which is fine, if you wanna mention anything that you did like, that would be too much info, okay. I'm gonna write all this stuff down, or screenshot it later, and they're all listed by class so that I can sort of like make a list for myself. Too much class info in one class period, okay. One thing that I would suggest that you do is to have the PowerPoint up when you are in class. So a lot of people, or that's what I always did in college, was had the PowerPoint and I could make my notes under the PowerPoint slides. That might be something that you might want to think about doing, just to like get you prepared for what college is more like, but you definitely don't have to do that, right? You didn't get to finish the assignments, okay. We're not gonna have very many group assignments, if any, in quarter two, so. So mostly what I'm seeing is that I am giving you too much information each class, and I'm going too quickly through the slides. And that it's boring, I guess, okay. Theater is not independent to the person who's writing right now about. However, I think that group assignments work better in person than online. So what we might be doing is group assignments where it's like, okay, you have 20 minutes and this is what we're doing so that you don't have to rely on people who aren't present. Yes, Isabella? You have your hand raised? Or is that an accident? I can't tell. No? Okay. How are we doing? Am I rushing you? Do you need more time? I see some people are still writing, so. Okay, so do you think that's fair? The idea that too much info, I'm going too quickly through the slides. It seems like people were okay with the test review because it went over the slides. And people sort of feel on the fence about group projects. Anything else? Does that seem like an honest assessment? Yes or no? You can tell me in the chat or give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up, okay. Pretty much, okay. All right. So then let me go back to, where did it go? There we are. Okay. So a couple of things that I think that I liked is that we learned a lot about what works, right? We tried out some stuff. We learned what didn't work. There were a lot of technical issues that we had to deal with. And I think that for the most part, we did take care of them. You know, like I came into this sort of assuming I was going to be able to see everybody and I was going to be able to talk to everybody. And we learned that that's not necessarily the case, right? So that's definitely something that I had to sort of adjust for. And I'm still looking for ways to like add for the people who can't like speak up on the mic in class, new ways that you guys can interact. A lot of you were very good at communicating to me when you needed help or clarification about an assignment. And so I really appreciated that. And of course, I got to know you guys better. So I know more now about your interests and what you like and how you work and what doesn't work for you. And that, of course, makes it easier for me to teach you. So I'm hoping that that will help the rest of the year. Okay, so we already sort of did a lot of what we didn't like about quarter one. So I feel like I'm going to move on to things that I didn't like about quarter one. So I feel like I didn't do a very good job about communicating expectations to you, and that was my fault. And I'm going to try to write clearer instructions going forward for all of the projects, okay? For my grow for you guys, it's the following. There were times when I felt like many of you weren't really engaged. And I know that part of that is because it's the end of the day, right? And I don't know if you've ever heard of Zoom fatigue, but it's a real thing, right? And I think that it's hard to like focus and spend so much time on the computer all day long. So all I can ask is that you guys sort of make an effort to pay more attention and try not to use your phone as much during class. That's all I can really ask, okay? And then maybe one thing that I suggested to my other class was if you find that you did zone out like halfway through a class, well, then maybe you could write the time down for yourself, right? And that way later on, when the video's up, you could go back to that point in the video and watch what you sort of zoned out on. So that way you can still take in some of the information. What do you guys think about those things? Do you think those are fair? You agree with those? Yes, says Paige. Okay. Kennedy says yes. Anybody else? Anybody not agree? Anybody really frustrated? Arnold says yes. Are we getting frustrated with online school? Is that what part of what's going on? A little? Okay. All right. I understand. And like I said, I think it also doesn't help. Yeah, that Zoom fatigue, it's the end of the day, right? So maybe I'm going to try to like maybe put some music into things, maybe, you know, do these more interactive things so that maybe that'll help. And do like more like little segments of stuff to break it up. Okay, let's go ahead. So let's talk about Q2, because I want to give you guys a really clear expectation of what's going to happen in the beginning part of Q2, okay? So we're going to start with playwriting, okay? And you guys should remember this. If you were here for 9th grade, you have this like mandatory essay that you have to write, okay? It's back. So for playwriting, you are going to be researching a play or a playwright, okay? You get to choose. I'll give you feedback on it. Then you're going to write a paper of 700 to 950 words about sort of what you researched, what you learned, right? What you did. And in that paper, you have to use and cite one source minimum. Questions about that? So it's kind of like what you've been doing is practice. This is going to be independent though. So you'll go through, maybe you pick a playwright that we've talked about, or I'm going to give you a bunch of information about playwrights in our history of playwriting. Just like little snippets of some people who are really interesting, and you can research them or a play that they wrote. Then you'll write a paper about that project, and then that will be turned in for IB. Talk to me. Is this okay? Do we understand? Yes, I'm seeing some thumbs ups. Getting a few yeses in the chat, okay? So it's just, as you can see here, a little longer than the one for the 9th graders, right? But the minimum is only 700 words. And don't forget, I can help you, right? So I am more than happy to help you with it as well. This will be done before Thanksgiving, then we'll just wash our hands of it and we'll move on with our lives, okay? All right. Okay, fewer group projects. Now, by this, I don't mean that we're never going to have breakout rooms again. But what I mean is that I don't think we're going to have any group projects that are summatives again. So it might be that we'll do a group project where I'm like, okay, I'm going to put you in groups of 5, the people who are here today, and you're going to, you know, come up with a concept if you were going to direct Romeo and Juliet. You got 20 minutes, go, right? And you guys work together and you come up with it and you come back and you show us what you got, right? But it's not going to be like over the course of a few days anymore, okay? So it'll be formative stuff, not summative. Does that sound good? So we still have them, they're just not as big of a part of your grade. Seeing a few thumbs up, I'm getting a couple yeses. So you still get to work together. It's just not going to be something where, you know, you'll have to incorporate somebody who's not here. You'll have your group, you get to work. And hopefully, now that we're like past all the history, we get to do all the really cool, fun stuff now, which I want to show you what that's going to be like before we end today. Now, one thing that I do want to do, because we're going to be doing more independent work, is that you're going to be required to create deadlines for yourself. So you'll say, okay, by October 20th, I'm going to have decided what play I'm doing my project on. And then on October 20th, you're going to have to tell me it. So that way you are responsible for meeting or missing those deadlines, okay? That's going to be scholarly habit stuff, because I want you to get into the groove of actually setting your own schedule and sort of holding yourself accountable to meeting these guidelines, okay? So, you know, I'll help you decide what's a reasonable time frame so that you can get things done. But you're going to set checkpoints for yourself, and then you're going to be honest with me about whether or not you met those checkpoints. Okay? So Nearpod is down, but we're going to be trying Nearpod out in class more. Some of the stuff that they can do is that they can incorporate discussion boards, they can incorporate polls, they can incorporate open-ended questions. There's all kinds of stuff. The other thing that Nearpod does, which is pretty cool, and I didn't know that this existed. You know how you guys like have problems when I show videos through Zoom? So normally I like have to post the link. Well, Nearpod actually does it where it comes up and you click play in the slide and it plays through your computer. So we don't have to worry about that. I don't have to post the link in the chat or anything. You just have to click play and we'll watch it pretty close to being synced up, right? So that'll work better, I think, when Nearpod's not down. And we'll experiment with it, and we'll, after we try it a couple of times, if we all collectively hate it, we won't use it anymore, right? But I'm hoping that it'll work. The other thing that I'm going to be doing more, just to let you guys know, is doing more cold calling during class, okay? If you don't have a mic, I really need you to email EdTech and copy me so that I know that you emailed them. If you have a mic, but you have bandwidth issues, which I totally understand, if I cold call you, I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat, okay? Does that sound fair? Yes? Seeing some thumbs up? Yeah? Okay. Yes, Paige. I am waiting. Did you, okay, yeah. Yes, you would just be able to type. Yes, Paige, exactly. Yep, no problem. So yeah, if I called you, you just put like, I don't have a mic, and then type your answer. Okay? Cool. Good question. Okay, so what questions or concerns do you have about Q1 or Q2? Take a couple of minutes, and I want you to really seriously think about this. And you can either message me privately or put it in the chat if you have any questions or concerns about what Q1 was like or about what I've said we're going to see in Q2. So take a couple minutes. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to think, process. Because what I really want to do is to respond to your feedback and make Q2 a better experience for all of us. Okay, so I got a question I want to share with everybody about missing work, okay? So when you miss an assignment, you technically have a 3-week period to turn it in, okay? So if it was due on the 1st, you have until the 21st to turn it in. However, the maximum grade that you can get on a made-up assignment is 70%, okay? So if it would have been A work, the only thing, the maximum you can get is 70%. Now, the minimum you can get on an assignment most of the time is 50. But that 20%, especially if it's a summative, can make a big difference, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Anything else? No concerns? We all feel pretty good about? Okay, so another question, if you get a bad grade on something and it's below an 80, you can redo it within that 3-week period, okay? So let's say you take a test, you get a 58. You could redo the test within that 3-week period. Okay. I understand the confusion because I'm not used to this like schedule the way that it works either. So I'm still getting used to it as well. But you're welcome to ask, like, you know, let's say you get a low grade on something, you can always ask me, hey, can I make that up? And I'll tell you like, yes, you can, or like, hey, no, sorry, you got an 81, so you can't redo it. Good questions. Anything else? Okay. If you think of anything, let me know. So I want to show you guys what the semester is going to kind of look for y'all. So I'm going to give you a little brief look at what I do. Choo-choo. All right. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. So we are going to begin the semester. So here we are today. We're doing our review on the 15th, because tomorrow you guys have the pre-SAT here and live, right? On the 15th, we're going to watch a movie. We're going to watch a documentary about the making of Annie on Broadway and how they cast Annie and everything. So then when we get back to our regular times, you're going to have your quarter 2 test. I'm going to enable again the review for the test that you can do as many times as you want so that you can keep practicing with it, okay? The test is shorter than the review by quite a bit, okay? Then we're going to get into our first unit, which is playwriting. So unit 1 is playwriting, and it's made up of quite a few parts. It's made up the history of playwriting. It's made up of dialogue, so learning to write dialogue. It's about, plays are about consequences and use what you know. And then finally, you'll have your project on playwriting, and then you'll write your essay, okay? So you're gonna have it, instead of like the history where like each class was like a different period, now we're getting into where we have a unit and it'll be several weeks where we're gonna cover that unit, okay? So playwriting is first. What do you think second? Anybody wanna guess? What are you gonna cover after playwriting? Yep, the dialogue will be in playwriting, but you're not wrong. So think about with history, we had playwriting, and then we had what? Who came next? Anybody remember? Okay, I will tell you. So we're gonna do playwriting, and then we're gonna learn about the director. And we're gonna go over all the stuff that the director does. And then we will have a unit where we will, you'll basically get to create a director's concept for a play of your choice. Now that one might be one where we can work together for like a class period, where you can like bounce ideas off of each other. Maybe we'll make groups based on what play people are doing, okay? So playwriting and then directing. Then when we get back from Christmas break, we are going to do a unit on all of these weird little pockets of theater history that we didn't cover before because they are strange and unusual. And then we're going to talk about theater of protest. And I might move that up depending on what happens. We might do theater of protest first. Okay. But we're going to do some fun stuff. So it's going to be completely different than what we've been doing, right? We've been just like hopping from country to country to country. Now we're going to pick a topic and we're going to stay in that topic for weeks at a time before we move on to the next. How do we feel about that? Does that sound like it's going to be a little bit more good? Yeah. It's going to be a little bit more doable. Maybe make things a little less stressful. You're not going to have something due. I mean, you're going to have stuff to do every class period, but it's not going to be like a project as much as often. Again, we will have a regular quarter too, which is going to happen. Okay. So that will help. We don't have just like 3.5 weeks to get everything done, right? So my plan is that when you, let me finish this really quick. When you leave like at, I don't want to enable a password. You'll be able to like, we'll be able to space out things much more broadly than we did before. So let me show you really quick what that's going to look like, and then we will move on to I'll give you back your review packet. Here is the calendar. Now this isn't exactly set in stone because some things change, and like, you know, maybe I get sick, or maybe, you know, something happens with school, maybe the COVID stuff happens, right? Right now, the plan is that you have your first summative is next week, of course, right? Then your playwriting one won't be due until November, until like November 9th and 10th. And then your directing paper won't be due until into December. Right? So you've got like a big chunk of time in between each one. All right. And then we get to just do some fun stuff. We're going to get to watch some plays. We're going to get to watch some interviews with directors. We'll get to, you know, talk more about what you guys think about stuff. It's more subjective and less, you know, data-based, okay? All right, so I am going to go ahead and put the review back up, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and say you have 6 times to do it if you want. And it has been enabled again. So if you go to, and I will show you where to find this. You go into Schoology, our Schoology, into class content, you're gonna notice that things have changed. All the quarter 1 stuff is in a folder now so that it's out of our way, but it's still there if you want it at any time. And here in the 1013 folder is our history review packet again. All right. So keep working on that so that you can keep studying for the test with that review packet. It should be enabled now. I thought I enabled it. Did I not? Can you refresh and try now, Kennedy? Sorry. Sometimes Schoology likes to, I think it just likes to mess with me, honestly. I wish I could just tell it to like start it and then enable it until still not. Let me see. It's today. Maybe it's because I put it in. How about now? It says it'll open on Monday. What the flip? Is it still doing that? Will be open Monday. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Maybe I have to change it inside this thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm completely new to Schoology. I've never used it before. Everything else I've ever taught on has just been on Blackboard. And I don't really understand like what it wants from me. Let me see. I wanted to give you guys time with it though, is the thing. I wanted you to have it until it was it tells me that that you can open it. Anybody else having any luck with it? I'll try. I will try that, Kennedy. I mean, might as well try it. You know what? Enable. I just enabled it. Forget it. Arnold can open it. So I do want you to practice. I want you to do this packet. It is going to be worth a grade again, but it's just going to be worth a scholarly habits this time. Okay? Because what's the scholarly habit that you're working on with this packet? What are you trying to do? It's excluding Kennedy. Kennedy, maybe close out of your browser completely and come back in and see if it fixes it. I want you to study, right? Those of you who were in Schoology before I posted it, yeah, prepare, study. I want you to close completely out of your browser and see if you can log back into Schoology and if it will let you open it then. Yes, you do have to do the history review packet at least one more time because I want you to make sure that you have studied. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it today. I just want you to do it once between today and Monday when you take the test. At least once. Now, if you want to do it more times, you can. But it's basically for me to check to ensure that you've studied. Now, as I mentioned, it is going to be worth a grade, but it is a scholarly habits grade. So, you know, it's part of that like 10%. So it's definitely not a large part of your grade, but I am going to give you a grade on it. Okay, we've got like 14 minutes left. Let me stop sharing. Any questions? Anything that you're unsure of? Anything that you didn't put in the Padlet that you want to? I can put the Padlet back in. You're welcome, Kennedy. I can put the Padlet. I will put the Padlet back in the chat just to, if you didn't get a chance to put something in there, you can. So if you want to put something in the Padlet, you can do that. If you want to use this time to work on the review, you can do that. If you want to use this time to shake your brain awake, you can do that too. Or ask me any questions. You guys do know, everybody knows you got to be here in person tomorrow for the PSAT, right? Everybody has to come in. It is mandatory. And actually, I got a message about it. Please remind your scholars that PSA testing tomorrow is mandatory and in person, okay? You do need to be in uniform, yes. Do you have to bring anything? I don't think you have to. I would suggest bringing like a water, because there's no water fountains anymore. They're just like things to fill up a cup with. Yeah, I would bring like a pencil, maybe a couple of pencils. You don't have to bring a backpack if you don't want to, but you do have to wear your uniform. I would bring pencils just in case. And I would bring water with me, or I would also bring a snack if I were you, because nope, it is not online. It has to be done in person, unfortunately. They made, they changed stuff with the map to do it online, but they were not able to do so with the PSAT. So you do have to come in person to take it. I would also suggest that you take the Luminaire quiz that they'll email you before you leave your house, so that you can get here and get through the car line and move on with your lives. It is at, I want to say 8, it starts at 8:30. Let me double check. I have a thing about it in my email. All right. It's not in there. There we go. Yeah, it starts at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry. It's from 8 to noon. And your groups, where you go is based on your last name. So they'll tell you when you get here what time or what room you're going to. We begin car line at 7:30. No problem. So yeah, car line starts at 7:30. Test starts at 8, goes till noon. Then they're going to release you after that, I believe. And it is in person. You do have to wear your uniform. If you are here on campus 5 days a week, you can do the wear it Wednesday instead, but that's just for people who are on campus 5 days a week. But then at least on Thursday, we're going to all watch a documentary together and it'll be fun. And then you'll have some time over the weekend to hopefully relax a little bit. What other questions y'all have, either about the pre-SAT or about the quarter or anything that I can answer for you, I will. You don't have anything due for my class today. I just wanted to get your guys, the biggest thing for me today was to get your feedback on the glows and grows, and I got a lot of things that I need to do better. And then just give you some time to start working on that review again. So you don't have to do anything today. If you want to get the review, the first thing of the review done today, you can. But you do not have to. You just have to do it at least once before Sunday at midnight. I didn't want to give you some. When will you get the results for the test? How about, because I'm going to be testing people Monday and Tuesday of next week, okay? If I tell you, I will have them graded by Friday. Does that seem fair? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, I don't know, actually. I don't know how the pre-SAT works anymore. I haven't taken it in 1 billion years. Actually, I never took the pre-SAT. It says they are typically available 6 weeks after a student takes them. So PSAT results are typically available in early December, approximately 6 weeks after a student takes the PSAT. You create an online account and you get a screen with your scores. I'm getting that from studypoint.com. All right, guys, that's it for me. Take your extra 5 minutes, stretch, enjoy, go outside, take some time for you today, okay? And I will talk to you on Thursday. Bye. Hi, Zach. Bye, Emily. You too, Kennedy. I'll see you later. See you, Sean. Thank you.